All right, so now let's talk about display of important information. Let's go ahead and grab this one and pull it to the top. So, and let's go ahead and zoom in. So we can see Putnam County parcels. Now there is a multitude of information inside here. Let's take a look at it. Let's right click it and go to the attribute table. Inside the attribute table, you can see basically a giant Excel table that is attached. It's got links to the property record cards. It's got all kinds of legal information, property value. You can see the postal code of the city, the postal code address of the owner, the site address, as well as the owner's name. So as you can see, the order isn't too intuitive. We can easily right click on it and tell it to sort the information. Now this is large, but you can see it did it rather quickly. Here we have it arranged alphabetically. If you want to select some of these, you're going to go ahead and click here. You can right click and zoom to the ones that you're looking for. Definitely hit Control F to bring up this search one. Now where is it going to search for? Right now it wants to search in the FID. That's a useless column. But if I click here in the owner name column, it's going to let us search in the owner column. So let's say we want to select the Putnam Land Conservancies. First thing we do is go ahead and click the top one, and then we can scroll down, find one of the lower ones. Let's say it's this one. Now I'm going to hold Shift down first before I click on this last one. That is going to click all of them. Now let's say there might have been one that I didn't want. Let's say I didn't want this one. I will hold Control and I will click here and it will deselect it. Oops, I actually do want that one. I'll hold Control and I'll click it again. Alright, so now we can go ahead and zoom to that. It's still going to zoom to individual ones, but you can see if I zoom out, you can see it has selected all of these. Alright, we can get more into adding fields to this if we want later. But for now you've seen some of the internal wiring behind this layer. So let's go ahead and close this attribute table. But mark this right here, owner name. Also parcel ID is important. So let's go ahead and close this. So let's go ahead and right click on this and we're going to talk about labeling and display. First let's go to properties and let's go down to display. So right now you'll see owner name, which we were just looking at, and we're going to have a check mark right here on show Maptips. Now ArcGIS has remembered this from my options before, and it may not be that way for you. So you're going to want to come here and make sure that what you want is selected and that show Maptips is selected. So what does it mean? It means when I hover, it will read me the entry for that for the owner name from the attribute table. It will show it to me. And then you can see Putnam Land Conservancy. Sure enough, all of the ones that are selected, it's displaying us as the owner. Now those are just map tips, as they call them. You won't be able to see those on any kind of a layout, which you don't know what a layout is yet, but we will get to that. But if you do want to see things, we're going to first turn on labeling. So now labeling is on, and you can see it's on because this little blue square is on it. Now labeling what? Let's click labeling properties. So in here again, you're going to see some of these things like parcel ID and owner name. So right now it's going to default us to city CNV name. We're going to erase that. Let's say we wanted to show us the parcel IDs. I just double click it, and in this specific arcade language, it's going to go ahead and read that. And it's going to put the parcel ID there. Now, I'll hit apply and see what happens. So what should happen is ArcGIS, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so it's not too overwhelmed by my request. There we go. It's going to show us a parcel ID for every single parcel. It would be overwhelmed if I try to zoom out. Now, let's take a look at how we can control those. Let's say I wanted it to say parcel ID first. So I'm going to put quote parcel ID, colon, space, end quote, space plus space. So here you can see I want it to say out loud, I want it to print parcel ID, colon, space, and then I put the plus and I indicate that it's going to show the parcel ID. When I hit OK, when I hit apply, you can now see it's going to put parcel ID in front of everybody. I can also say plus owned by space, end quote, space plus space, and then I could say owner name, apply. And this is the basics of this code, this arcade language. Now, parcel ID owned by Green Harbert, Smith Jamie, Richardson Josette. So, this is how you use this language to get it to display what you want it to display. Now, let's go ahead over here to the symbol. Symbol means basically the appearance of the text. So, first thing I can change if I want is the font, its style, regular, bold, or if I choose something more regular like Times New Roman, it's going to have options like italic and bold italic. Let's say I want it to be italic, and I want it to be size 6, and I want it to be magenta. I'll hit apply. And now, yeah, well, this is, now let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit more. All right. Well, size 6 is just too small. Let's go ahead and up it to 11. All right, so I can also put an outline around this text if I wanted to. Let's say I wanted to have a nice fat white outline around it. It's going to totally encompass the text and make it illegible. So we're going to get rid of that outline by making it transparent. Another thing is, let's say that it's placing these in a place that I don't like. I want them to be lower, so I can just offset the X. So in this case, X is going to be side to side, which makes sense on a graph. You have to fault me, I haven't looked at geometry and graphs for a long time. So of course X is horizontal. If I want it to be lower, I'm going to have to lower the Y. So I can adjust their position, all of them together, by using this position. I can change the rotation if I want. In this case, it doesn't seem to want to let me do that. I can put callouts on them. If there's just no way I'm ever going to be able to read it because maybe I've got the satellite map turned on, and it's just going to be too much, I can go ahead and I can put a balloon callout on there. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. In this case, it's the gopher tortoise that's making it there. So now you can see my balloon, and you can see my text. Positioning. Now, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go over here to remove duplicate labels. So sometimes you're going to have so many things labeled right next to each other that are all the same thing, and it'll become quite busy. So if there are duplicates, we can say remove all duplicates. And then it'll only label that thing one time. Or we can say remove within a fixed distance. This is very valuable. So let's say there's Putnam Land Conservancy parcels very close to one another, and I don't want them all labeled. Let's go ahead and see what it does for this. This is going to overwhelm it because there's just so much on the screen. Let's go ahead and zoom in some. You can probably hear my computer getting ready to launch. Well, in this case, each of these are actually different because they all have a different parcel ID. So let me come back over here to... Okay, so how do I get back to where I was? I'm going to hit here in class. I can see here that I'm missing a space in front of owned. Definitely need that. But in this case, I'm going to just remove everything but the owner name so that I do have perhaps true duplicates. Yes, now you can see that these are duplicates and they're not all displaying. If I get rid of do not remove, it will label them on every single one. If I say remove all duplicates, it's only going to label one Putnam Land Conservancy on the screen at a time. So you can see Putnam Land Conservancy is labeled down here. Remove within a fixed distance. And in this case, it's going to measure them in points. Let's say I want to see even fewer of them on the screen. I'll double that to 300 points. And I should see half as many. There we go. Now I can just see 2. So those are some of the important functions that we use in our displays for labels. Remember, you turn them on and off with this button, the label button right here, and we access this by hitting label properties, and it brings us up to here.